The fog had thickened, and rain was still sprinkling. Dardanelle Avenue curved up between the many posh residences, which became increasingly larger and farther apart until we were finally into an area with nothing but old-growth trees on either side of the road. He was squinting to see ahead.
"Stop, just up there, Winslow."
He was pointing to the corner of a 10-foot-tall stone wall that paralleled the dark road ahead. Another angle of the stone barrier went southward into the forest. I pulled partly onto the mossy shoulder of the road as he said,
"Excellent."
"Excellent, why? What are we doing here?" As he surveyed the secluded forested area, he said,
"In addition to the information I gleaned at police headquarters today, I found my way to a certain priest at old St. Mary's Cathedral. One Father Moriarty."
A chill ran through me. Did he know?
"The identity of the club-footed boy who 60 years ago had stolen my jewels and identity?"
His eyes flashed with delight.
"Yes."
My blood was freezing up entirely as I looked out warily at the wall extending off into the dark forest. Holmes, surely you are not telling me that this
is the southwest corner of number 196 Dardanelle Avenue, the estate of underworld chieftain James Moriarty Booth.
I was startled, but emphatic. Oh, no. No, no, no. I began to turn the car around, but Holmes had already popped his seatbelt, opened the door, and was stepping out. 12. Wait a minute! I said urgently with a hushed, stunned voice as I stopped, grabbed his discarded newsboy cap from my own head, and jumped out of the car into the light rain. You're really certain that man Booth lives here?
Correct.
He had opened the car's back door and was fishing something out of his small cylindrical duffel bag. How in the world did you find that out?
I saw the address on Detective Griffin's computer screen. Then, back at your residence, I scouted it out on your computer. What an amazing research asset. Of course, it has its limitations, which is why I need a closer look.
From the duffel, he extracted a coil of rope and what looked like a stack of small boards bound together. Numerous fierce concerns tumbled out of my mouth, one on top of another. Are you out of your... In the history of bad ideas, this is the worst. You cannot just go right up to his front door and...
Does this look like the front door?
His eyes twinkled devilishly. He turned dramatically and headed for the 10-foot wall. I was right on his heels, saying forcefully, "Stop! I will not let you do this. We could both get arrested."
"Should that happen, which I assure you it won't,"
he said while uncoiling the rope,
"I shall assume full responsibility."
I laughed ferociously. Big help that would be. You just bring that whatever it is and get back in the car.
Calm yourself, Winslow. I'll merely be exploring quietly to see what I can discern.
I was emphatic. No, Holmes.
May I remind you,
he grumbled while working with the rope,
that this man stole and likely still possesses my identification and valuables. I also hope to find some incriminating evidence that will bring down the mighty Mr. Booth and, most important to Luis Ortega, I hope to gain the insights needed to save his life.
With that, he tossed a small grappling hook onto the top of the wall and pulled down hard on it, making certain it was reliably secured. Forget it! I was apoplectic and determined to take charge. We are out of here! I reached for his arm, but with the grace of a ballet danseur, he adroitly avoided my grasp and held up his right index finger, saying,
"Wait. Allow me to demonstrate that I am an excellent cat burglar, my dear. Always in a moral cause, of course."
He was pulling on a second rope, which ran through a pulley on the grappling hook at the crest of the wall. That second rope was raising the pile of boards up to the top of the wall as Holmes continued his lecture.
"My tutor was Charles Peace, the best cracksman in London. He gifted me with this little gem. Behold." He
pulled a small tripcord hanging from the boards, and they dropped down toward the ground, spaced about a foot apart. It was a collapsible ladder. Quite ingenious. Holmes enjoyed my surprise, proud of his criminal toy.
Now then, if you'd be so good as to secure the base for me.
I won't, and you are not going to go up there. But he'd already started climbing as he sneered back at me.
Thanks ever so for your support.
At my wit's end, I grabbed for his cape with both hands, but he leapt 2 rungs higher with feline dexterity. I jumped to catch hold, but he was a millimeter out of reach. I shouted, "Come back here!"
Winslow,
he whispered loudly, shooting me a dark look over his shoulder.
If you're not going to help, would you at least keep your voice down?
I choked down my volume but ramped up the intensity. I will not! Holmes! He shook his head at my stubbornness and scampered atop the wall. I called to him in one last desperate attempt, but he just pulled the ladder up, slipped it down the other side, then dropped out of sight.